Have you been curious about breathwork? It feels like all the podcasters and all the blogs are talking about it. So, what even is breathwork and who can it help? My name is Dasha and I'm a kinesiologist. Today I will share with you what breathwork is, who it can help, and I'll share a little bit of my personal journey through breathwork and chronic pain. So, breathwork is an umbrella term, kind of like saying exercise. Breathwork can mean a lot of different things. It can be breathing very slow, it could be yoga breathing, it could be stability breathing, or it could be hyperventilating. All of those different parts of breathwork will give you different results. And so that's very general, but in terms of who it can help, I kind of think it can help everybody. So anybody who has a nervous system and a conscious mind could use breath work. And here's the reason why. So our breath is really, really special and cool because it is both autonomic, so it's happening automatically in the background when you're not thinking about it, but it's also somatic, which means you can control it. So the breath is a window into the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, that is always happening in the background. That's the reason why our heart rate goes up, or our breathing rate goes up, or our pupils dilate, or we start to sweat. Whether that be because you're stressed and you're late for a meeting, stuck in traffic, or you're doing a workout class, or you just got some really bad news. Our nervous system responds to the things in our environment and creates all of these physiological changes in our bodies that are meant to keep us safe and keep us alive. So through doing breath work, we can start to understand the connections between our breath and our nervous system and actually take control of our autonomic nervous system so that your conscious mind and kind of your being is in control of your nervous system and not just your nervous system's doing whatever it wants and taking you on a ride of stress or anxiety or endless looping thoughts or racing heart rate, or also that like chronic tension that we experience in the body when we're stressed. So that's one of the reasons why I think most people can benefit from breath work, because most people are not great at managing their stress and their reactions to the environment as they come in. So my journey through breath work was started because I had chronic pain. I was in a car accident and I had back and neck pain. My very first introduction to it was an RMT way back in the day, so maybe like 10 or 12 years ago, that introduced me to doing slow diaphragmatic breathing. So that's breathing into the belly and breathing slowly. At that time, I had no idea that he was planting a seed for this beautiful thing to blossom. But that was really, really helpful for me. So doing diaphragmatic breathing was able to help me regulate my nervous system and to calm my pain down. Back in 2020, I signed up for a workshop called holotropic breathing, and that's more hyperventilating breathing. And that's when you're lying down on the ground and you're breathing for an hour to 2 hours and breathing quickly. So that breath kind of goes like, which is meant to stimulate the sympathetic nervous system, which is the stress nervous system. And that was a beautiful experience for me to learn that I know not only can make myself very relaxed, but I can also make myself quite stressed. And through that stress, my body was able to release some of the stress that I was holding and kind of go up in terms of my nervous system and then come down lower than where I started in terms of my relaxation. So I was able to work through my stress, work through some of my pain. And during my first workshop, I had a lot of lower back pain, just lying on the ground. I was lying on the ground. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, this is terrible. This is awful. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. But feeling in that safe container with the facilitator saying, this is what we're here to do. We're here to breathe. I was like, okay, I trust in this process. I'm just going to keep breathing. And eventually my back pain kind of peaked and then started to come down on the other side. And it actually has never been back ever since that first class in 2020. So I was able to work through some of that, call it energy of my back pain in my nervous system at that time. And my nervous system was like, okay, we've resolved this and this is no longer a problem. I should also preempt that at the time I was also exercising, doing physio, so doing other things to take care of my back. I was working on my core. So it wasn't just breath work on its own, but that nervous system energy that was there, that was creating my back pain, was able to be processed and kind of move on. And that's why I believe I haven't had that back pain again. So that was how breath work helped me. I, through that, was very inspired to learn more. So for the last 5 years, I've been digging into the breath and understanding the nervous system and nerding out really hard because I was like, whoa, that's amazing. How is it possible that I can just breathe for an hour or 2 hours and suddenly my pain is gone? Like, to me, that seemed like voodoo magic. But at this point, it actually, I know that it is not voodoo magic. So it has everything to do with regulating the nervous system, how much carbon dioxide I was blowing off because I was breathing fast, how that changed the pH in my blood, making my body go into a bit of a stress response. And from now, I also understand that the body keeps the score. So our nervous system keeps that energy of trauma in our bodies. And so when we're trying to liberate that energy of trauma in our bodies, we first need to feel safe, feel like we have a container of safety of what we're doing. And then we need to be able to bring up that energy that is stored in the body, whether through talking through a therapist, or maybe it's through exercise or movement, or maybe it's through breath work where the nervous system is stimulated and stressed out, while still maintaining that container of safety and allowing that energy to move through us and allowing it to kind of have its natural process. So not voodoo magic, but a very kind of understood process at this point. And that's what inspired me to create the breathwork workshop that I now facilitate. So it's a little bit different than what else is out there. It's based on science and based on research. So what I know is that the best way to relax our nervous system is doing continuous physiological sighs. So that looks like a breath into the belly, and then a breath into the chest, and then a sigh out through the mouth. So you could try this with me right now if you like. So breath into the belly, breath into the chest, and then a relaxed jaw sigh out. So that makes our nervous system relax and go into parasympathetic. If we continue to do that, we get more and more relaxed. But the caveat is if we do that quickly, so what we start to do is we start to get really relaxed, but we also blow off a lot of CO2, making your blood a little bit more acidic and kind of stressing the body out a little bit. So what this does is it creates that container of safety, and then it creates that little bit of a stress. That stress allows you to bring up past stress energy, past trauma, and allows you to process it and allows you to keep breathing through it. And again, because you continue with the sigh, you're continuously telling your body, we're safe, we can relax, and telling the body that whatever was in the past is in the past, and the things that are coming up now, it's okay for them to move through, it's okay for you to breathe it out. And so I find that that allows us to bring things up, process them, let them go, and it leaves our nervous system just feeling way more relaxed afterwards. And when we feel more relaxed, we have less muscle tension, we have less pain, We generally feel more like ourselves. We can do things better. We can think more clearly. We sleep better. So there's so many benefits to generally feeling more relaxed. And so that's the gift that I want to share with the world, is teaching you how to reset your nervous system through this really simple breath method, allowing you to burn through some of the stress that you had in the past and kind of let that go, moving into the future, just feeling more yourself, more relaxed, feeling better, sleeping better, all of those things. So if you're curious, please join me for my next workshop. I would love to see you there.